I don't know much in this world, but I know how Clipper Nation feels about CP3, and I know how upset they've been with the start of this season. So for him to be sent home at this time with them 5-16, I don't know what could be happening next. Welcome into Clippers Talk.
Here we go, Clips fans.
Clippers talk with Adam Osland. After every game, download every pod. Clippers talks the name. He's a basketball talking golden god.
New episodes after every game on demand.
Follow Clippers Talk wherever you get your podcasts. Clippers.
Well, we're back, Clipper Nation. I was on with you last night. Lawrence Frank is supposed to be speaking with the media shortly. I wanted to be on for that. I want to also update you on the story with CP3 here. What we know, at least from what we're hearing from Shams and other sources here. And I do think you should consider where the information could be coming from. And we might only be getting one side of the story currently. But yes, this is getting ugly. Chris Haynes said Chris Paul requested a meeting with Coach Lue weeks ago to discuss allegations of being a negative presence on the team. Lue refused the meeting. That's according to Chris Haynes. He also said the Clippers were stuck at Miami Airport yesterday for nearly 6 hours due to mechanical issues, which significantly delayed team's arrival to Atlanta. A long travel day following another bad loss ended with teammates finding out in the middle of the night that Chris Paul was being let go. More. Lou Williams said CP3 was holding players and coaches accountable. He was critical of the front office. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was Lou Will on FanDuel TV. Shams Charania said Chris Paul and his leadership style clashed with the Clippers. Sources tell ESPN. Paul has been vocal in holding management, coaches, and players accountable, which the team felt became disruptive. Specifically, Ty Lue was not on speaking terms with Paul for several weeks. So we have two sources saying that now between him and Chris Haynes. This is a really shocking turn of events. The franchise GOAT, as most people are calling him, has been sent home during a time where I don't know much, but I talk to this fan base every day. And I know how you guys feel right now about Lawrence Frank and Coach Lue. So for CP3 to be sent home, this, I think, has amplified more of that talk and conversation and stirred up more of those emotions and feelings you have right now for the team that's 5-16 and how you've already felt about the coaching staff and management. Here we go. Lawrence Frank speaking currently. We did not make this move because of our underperformance. I take full responsibility for that. We are not scapegoating. Lawrence Frank to the fans. I can empathize with the anger and disappointment. I own this, but we need to play with a lot more care, fight, and resolve. This is Lawrence Frank currently speaking with the media on a Zoom call. Again, he said they're not scapegoating Paul for the Clippers' poor performance. We are not blaming him for our underperformance. Quote, Chris Paul had a legendary career, legendary Clipper. We did not make this move because of our underperformance. We are not scapegoating Chris Paul. We have great respect for Chris. We're not blaming him. I'm going through this in real time with you guys as Lawrence Frank is currently addressing the media on a Zoom call. Looking for more quotes coming out. But he reiterated the fact that this isn't blaming him for the poor performance. Said that in the release last night. Said he empathizes with the fan base and the anger they're feeling right now. Lawrence Frank said it was a hard but right decision to make a split with Chris Paul and that things did not go the way they wanted it to. Quote, it wasn't working out the way I had planned. We had planned. It's unfortunate. You don't take decisions like this lightly at all. That's something that I tried to stress last night. For this to happen, things had really had to reach a breaking point. This isn't something the Clippers wanted to do. Sure, this is something they thought they had to do. More from Lawrence Frank on a Zoom call right now. Lawrence Frank on today's reports of the Chris Paul Ty Lue meeting. Quote, it had nothing to do with one incident or one meeting that did or did not happen. Some things we have to keep in house. It didn't come down to one incident or meeting. It just wasn't the right fit. Again, regarding the reports of Chris Paul and Ty Lue, and reports that say Ty Lue wouldn't meet with him, quote, it had nothing to do with one incident or one meeting that did or did not happen. Some things we have to keep in house. It didn't come down to one incident or meeting. It just wasn't the right fit. Bringing up more. This is just, it's just a fire hose of information and a fast moving story right now where Lawrence Frank is currently speaking with the media on a Zoom call. Obviously, Clippers in Atlanta today. Chris Paul not with them. Lawrence Frank, quote, we're 5-16. I completely own that. I'm not putting that on Chris Paul at all. This is not a situation where I'm using Chris as a scapegoat for the job that I've done. Chris's legacy with us stands. This situation just didn't work out at this time. In his farewell season, Lawrence Frank said that the decision to part ways with Chris Paul was one Frank made on Sunday night and that he texted Paul on Monday morning to set up a meeting in person in Atlanta to go through the process. Wow. It's Wednesday, by the way, I think. Lawrence Frank said that the decision to part ways with Chris Paul was one Frank made on Sunday night, and that he texted Paul on Monday morning to set up a meeting in person in Atlanta to go through the process. More coming out from Lawrence Frank. Just getting this in real time as the Zoom meeting is going on, guys. Apparently, because of the team's flight delays in Miami, it unfolded the way it did. Frank said that it was a long conversation with CP3 and that it also wasn't his first conversation. Are you guys you don't have to believe anything I say, but uh, I'm pretty sure the Clippers would have tried everything to avoid what is happening right now, and just felt the situation became untenable. Orange Frank, the quote is late Sunday night, I made the decision that we were going to part ways. Right now, we're playing bad basketball. Lawrence Frank said the decision to split with Chris Paul was made Sunday. Lawrence said he contacted Chris Monday morning to set time to meet in Atlanta, but the team was delayed 6 hours in Miami on Tuesday and didn't arrive until Atlanta late. Frank says he and Paul have talked before. I can confirm that the plane was delayed. I can be a source for that. Lawrence Frank, quote, right now we're playing bad basketball on both ends. We're a bad basketball team. The improvement starts with me. I put together the roster. Tyronn Lue is my partner. He's a hell of a coach. He's going to continue to be the coach here for a long time. Well, there you have it. Stamp of approval from the front office with Coach Lue. He's going to continue to be the coach here for a long time. That's the biggest comment and quote coming out of this right now. Again, Lawrence Frank, quote, right now we're playing bad basketball on both ends. We're a bad basketball team. The improvement starts with me. I put together the roster. Coach Lue is my partner. He's a hell of a coach. He's going to continue to be the coach here for a long time. And if the schism at the heart of it was between Coach Lue and CP3, obviously the Clippers already made it clear that Coach Lue is their guy. This is just a lot. The quote is right now we're playing bad basketball. We're a bad basketball team on both ends. Improvements start with me and my partner, Ty Lue. He's a hell of a coach, and he's going to be the coach here for a long time. I know how a lot of the fan base feels when they hear that. This is coming directly from Lawrence Frank. And I'm not surprised by it. They've invested a lot into this. Coach Lue just got an extension going into last season. Lawrence Frank said he initially tried to meet with Chris when the team got in around 9:30 p.m. Ended up meeting at 11 p.m. and it went 3 hours, leading to CP posting an IG story close to 3 a.m. that he found out he was being sent home. So the meeting lasted 3 hours between Lawrence and Chris Paul. Obviously, they tried to find a resolution with this. It wasn't going to happen. This is Lawrence Frank currently speaking with the media on a Zoom call. I'll continue to reset here. Yeah, as a lot of people are saying, if you thought the Clippers only had 19 fans or 29 fans or whatever the joke is, I don't know how you can keep that going after today. Again, Lawrence Frank said the meeting with Chris Paul lasted about 3 hours from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. local time in Atlanta, 40 minutes after Chris Paul posted that he was asked to go home with the peace sign on his Instagram story. He has put his support behind Ty Lue Quote, Ty Lue is going to continue to be the coach here for a long time. I know Clipper Nation is upset right now. They were upset before this. Asked about James Harden's mindset after a poor showing in Miami, Lawrence Frank said the team was down big against the Heat, and the team as a whole played poorly, and that is why Harden didn't play much in the second half. Was there a follow-up? The rest of the starters came back in, but he didn't? So that's what we're wondering. At this point, I'm sure people are speculating with something going on between Harden and CP3. Lawrence Frank said that Steve Ballmer is disappointed and embarrassed about the Clippers' early season performance, which has led to a 5-16 record. Steve Ballmer is disappointed and embarrassed. He's with us. And if you guys could see some of the text messages I'm getting right now. Lawrence Frank on Chris Paul. Ultimately, it's my decision. I do not take these decisions lightly at all. Absolutely did not have any of this on my bingo card. Thought this, if anything, we at least have CP3 in his final season, his farewell tour. And as bad as everything was, that was something. Lawrence Frank said that Steve Ballmer is disappointed and embarrassed about the Clippers' early season performance. Now some people are saying, well, okay, here's Lawrence Frank on Steve Ballmer's thought process. Quote, Steve has a ton of respect for Chris. In our mind, Chris's legacy is intact. Steve has a ton of respect for Chris. In our mind, Chris's legacy is intact. Seeing what else we have here from L. Frank. Just going through various reporters. I'm talking about Justin Rousseau, Lob Murray, Joey Lynn, Grant Mona, Tomer Zarli. These are the guys that I look to as Lawrence Frank is on a Zoom call. The biggest quote to come out of this pertaining to Clipper Nation and how they feel right now probably is, quote, regarding Ty Lue's future, he's going to continue to be the coach here for a long time. Regarding Ty Lue, Lawrence Frank said he's going to continue to be the coach here for a long time. Excuse me. It's early, man. I didn't sleep well last night. I was up late talking about this. See what else we have, how much further this is going. I might have a guest for you in a little bit. Some are already speculating Chris Paul is going to end up going to the Lakers. Finally play it with LeBron. Lawrence Frank said, quote, I think Ty is one of the best coaches in the NBA. We're all part of the problem. It starts at the top with me. He mentioned the goal of stability and generally points to organizations that change all the time versus ones that stick together. This is a point I've been making for a while. The Clippers value stability. 14 straight winning seasons, the last 5 with Coach Lue. Last season winning 50 games when Vegas had them at 37.5. Again, Frank on Ty Lue keeping his head coaching job. Quote, we're all part of the problem. It starts at the top with me. The minute that things go south, it's not change. Sometimes that's the easy thing to do. We have great faith in Ty Lue. They're not interested in having a knee-jerk reaction here or making change for the sake of change. He said, I think Ty is one of the best coaches in the NBA. When you're 5-16, we all share in the responsibility. We have great faith in Ty Lue, and he's proven it over the years. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. More from Lawrence Frank on this Zoom call. I speculated last night that it could have been just a clashing of personalities. We know how competitive CP3 is. And I'm guessing they knew how the rest of the team felt about the way he was going about things before they made this decision. And they took the temperature of the locker room and said we'd be better off if we sent him home. That's my guess. But I know how the fans are feeling right now. Again, Lawrence Frank said, quote, Ty Lue is going to continue to be the coach here for a long time. Lawrence Frank said this, quote, Chris has a very good leadership style. He's led a ton of teams. Some moves you make, roster moves you make, you have great intentions. Some work and some don't. I own that. This one just didn't work at this time. That's an interesting one. Again, Lawrence Frank said, quote, Chris has a very good leadership style. He's led a lot of teams. Some moves you make, roster moves you make, you have great intentions. Some work and some don't. I own that. This one just didn't work out at this time. Clearly. The wrong time for this to happen. The wrong time to have CP3 back. The wrong mix in the locker room. When you're 5-16, hey, things can get sideways in a hurry. They have. Something was going to change. I didn't know it was going to be this. But we did see a little bit of the writing on the wall or some breadcrumbs that CP3 was upset. And I'm not sure taking things to Instagram stories was the appropriate way to go about it. Love CP3, but that probably didn't help things. That could be the leadership style that just did not work with this locker room. Lawrence Frank on the Clippers, quote, I'm very confident this will be a destination franchise as long as Steve is owning the team. Lawrence Frank on the Clippers. I'm very confident this will be a destination franchise as long as Steve is owning the team. I agree with that. I told you guys last night. People are worried about what this is going to say, and I guess he was asked a question about what this could show or put the Clippers in bad standing with potential free agents in the future by them letting go of a legend like this. I still think LA, Steve Ballmer, Intuit Dome, Clippers have a ton of selling points, and I'm sure they believe that Ty Lue is also one. Lawrence Frank on the 3-hour meeting with Chris Paul, quote, there's a ton of history between Chris, not just with the franchise, but with me, someone that you care about, someone that means a great deal to the organization. It's not going to be a 5-minute Moneyball meeting. I met for 3 hours last night. And he and CP3 have had a prior relationship. Remember, I said this last night. It took longer than I thought it would, than we thought it would, to ink the deal to get Chris Paul here. We thought, well, what was taking so long during free agency? He's going to be a Clipper, right? Is he going to go to Phoenix? They seem to really be hammering out the details on what his role was going to be, how this could look. There seemed to be some hesitancy. It wasn't just a slam dunk deal, so to speak. There was more to it. Was it going to be the right fit? Maybe they were thinking about that then, and that's why it took so long. Again, Lawrence Frank said in that 3-hour conversation, quote, "There's a ton of history with Chris, not just with the franchise, but with me. I was an assistant coach with Chris, someone that you care about. It's not going to be a 5-minute Moneyball meeting." Lawrence Frank on what a turnaround looks like for the Clippers. Quote, "It's more a process question than a result. It's how we look. You watch us play, we went from an elite defensive team to one of the worst defensive teams." Ain't that the truth? Lawrence Frank on what a turnaround looks like for the Clippers. Quote, "It's more of a process question than a results question. It's how we look. You watch us play, we went from an elite defensive team to one of the worst defensive teams. They went from being third in defensive rating last season to 26th in defensive rating this season. That's just incomprehensible. How could that happen?" Um, Lawrence Frank said this. This is strong. Quote, "We haven't deserved to win." Lawrence Frank, quote, "We haven't deserved to win. We're going to have to adjust." So does that mean from a coaching standpoint, more moves being made? We haven't deserved to win. Lawrence Frank on the 5-16 Clippers. Quote, "If I'm wrong and this roster isn't capable of doing more, as always, we'll be aggressive in trying to fix it. We'll explore every avenue to make this team better. If I'm wrong and this roster isn't capable of doing more, as always, we'll be aggressive in trying to fix it. We'll explore every avenue to make this team better." Wow. Okay. To make this team better doesn't sound like a sell off, tank the season, get rid of the stars for draft picks. We'll explore every avenue to make this team better. Quote, "If I'm wrong and this roster isn't capable of doing more, as always, we'll be aggressive in trying to fix it. We'll explore every avenue to make this team better." Our friend Paul Shear has made his thoughts known. He said that CP3 being released, quote, "It's a loud message of no assholes allowed policy. Good for the Clippers." Paul Shear said that in response to a Brett Siegel post about the Clippers' handling of this being atrocious. Lawrence Frank on Chris Paul. Again, we're not scapegoating him. They will make aggressive moves. Looking to see if the Zoom call has ended. Checking Justin Rousseau's feed. Quote, "We'll explore every avenue to get this team better." I'm going to send out a link to a friend to see if he wants to join. What a day. You know, the Clippers have a basketball game tonight, by the way. They're playing in Atlanta against the Hawks. So we might find out very quickly if they respond because of this move. I have yet to see anything else posted since we'll explore every avenue to get this team better. I'm not sure if that means the Zoom interview concluded or not. I will see if we have a guest for you guys. Fans in here want them to keep losing because they want people fired. Things are in a tailspin. It is very toxic right now. Lawrence Frank, quote, "We'll see it over time. What does it look like and win? If we deserve to win, then we'll pick up our share of wins. And if I'm wrong and this roster isn't capable of doing more, then as always, we'll be aggressive to try and fix it. I do believe this group is capable of doing a whole lot more. And if they're not, it's on me. And Al and Will and our group will find ways we'll explore every avenue to get this team better." So that was an expanded quote from, I'm laughing because my cats are just chasing each other and fighting. You probably heard that. That was a little bit more fleshed out of the quote from earlier. Hey. Eventually, Lawrence Frank knows the buck stops with him. Ballmer's the one that ultimately has to make the decisions here. But he's empowered Lawrence Frank. He's empowered Coach Lou. He's letting the basketball people run this thing. I understand how fans are feeling, though, right now. Disastrous 12 hours. Disastrous start to the season, 5-16. I still haven't reached confirmation if the meeting is over. I'm assuming it is, because I haven't seen any more quotes from Lawrence Frank on the Zoom call. The last thing I'm seeing here is, quote, "If I'm wrong and this roster isn't capable of doing more, as always, we'll be aggressive in trying to fix it. We'll explore every avenue to make this team better." Who knows what details could come out behind the scenes? What's next here? What stories we could hear? But just know you don't make a move like this lightly. The Clippers must have taken the temperature of the locker room. If it already got to the point, there was one report out there that CP3 apologized to the players. So maybe there was some acknowledgement he wasn't going about it the right way. I know some of you guys are just going to be fans of him holding them accountable, but obviously there's a history of him being so hyper competitive that it doesn't always come across the right way. So this was Lou Williams talking about it, and he said, quote, CP3 even addressed the team and apologized, saying, "My criticism is coming from a good place. I want us to be a good team. I want us to get this thing right." He was just holding guys accountable. But if you have to address the team and apologize, it's probably already not in a good place. But some are just going to be like, hey, whatever. Somebody had to say something. Lou Williams also said, quote, CP3 was holding players and coaches accountable. He was critical of the front office, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. It feels like a civil war right now, which we don't need. I think there can be understanding on both sides. I think you got to hear both sides and then make your assessment. But this is not a good situation, not a good look. Things have become really disappointing, I would say. In so many ways this season, from my perspective. All right, here's something else from Lawrence Frank. Joey Lynn posted this. The Clippers knew Chris Paul's leadership style when they signed him. I asked Lawrence Frank why they felt he was a good fit and why that changed. Frank, quote, I like to keep some of those things in house. Chris has a very good leadership style. He's led a lot of teams, and he's led a lot of teams as being one of the best players, if not the best player on the team. It just, the role, some moves you make, you have great intentions, and some work and some don't. And I own that. And this one just didn't work at this time. So we had that earlier, but Joey Lynn was the one who asked that question. And that was one of the more interesting questions and answers. I'm Adam Oslin. This is Clippers Talk. On the day we find out, CP3 has been sent home during his farewell tour back with the Clippers. He will no longer be with the team. Stories coming out that he and Coach Lou were not on speaking terms. He wanted a meeting with Coach Lou. He wouldn't give it to him. When you're losing like this, things can go off the rails. It can get nasty. It can get public. And it's really unfortunate to see this happening with the Clippers organization right now. And it would be great if people would be measured and not just take this side or that side. But that's not how this works. And I understand. And the fan base has already been up in arms before this. And I know your guys' current disdain for Lawrence Frank and Coach Lou and how many of you feel. So this was just a powder keg to send that to infinity. And it's not currently helping things. But again, the Clippers are not doing this because they want to. They did it because they felt they had to. Nobody wants to take this type of PR hit and have to have a meeting today like this with Lawrence Frank. They know it's not a great look. They know how disappointing this is. They know how fans feel about CP3. It is not lost on them. So things had to be pretty bad for this to happen. Lawrence Frank said he had multiple discussions. CP3 apparently apologized to the team at one point. Just trying to hold him accountable, but doesn't mean you're going about it the right way. Doesn't mean you're doing it in a productive way, in a constructive criticism way that gets the best out of the team, because obviously they were still losing. People coming after me right now because I'm pointing out the obvious that the Clippers would rather not be doing this. I understand where you guys are coming from. If it's between L. Frank and the head coach and CP3 right now, I know where you guys are, what team you guys are on. I know this story. I'm not tone deaf to what's been happening. They're 5-16. Fans are in an uproar for a reason. And if they see it like it was Chris Paul versus Coach Lou or Lawrence Frank, well, right now, fans are going to side with CP3, and that's what I'm seeing everywhere. And that's fine. I think there's blame to go around. The moves Lawrence Frank has made obviously has not worked out, even though the majority of us all felt that they were good moves. And as he's pointed out, it's on him. And he's the one that can make moves to change things, to undo some of this. So the buck kind of stops with him. And if more people are to be held accountable, it's going to be Lawrence Frank. Now, he said Coach Lou going to be here for a long time, put in his support. But if they keep losing, we know how these things go in sports. More people's heads could roll because nobody signed up for this. It makes sense to me a little bit more why there was hesitancy with bringing in CP3, I think. For right or wrong, I think they knew that there could be a clash like this, that this was a possibility. Because it took a while to get the deal done. And I was wondering why. Wrong fit, wrong time. Wanted the storybook ending. The losing eats away at guys in different ways. I love CP3. I love the Clippers. Both things can be true. Obviously, you look at the results. If he was that loud of a voice in the locker room and holding guys accountable, well, it wasn't working. It wasn't leading to wins. If there was a divide and an increased wedge between him and Coach Lou and maybe players, it didn't seem to lead to winning, guys. It's how you go about it sometimes. This goes back to the Lob City days. People are surprised by this. Go, he was just trying to hold people accountable. So, do you guys not know that that rubs people the wrong way sometimes, the way you go about it? Lob City was not a harmonious locker room. I think that's pretty clear. Damian saying there's a reason no team keeps Chris Paul. I mean, there is somewhat of a history of CP3 at times being a tough locker room guy. And look, I get it. It's very appealing. He wants to hold everybody accountable. Someone needs to. They're 5-16. And so a lot of you guys, you'll align with CP3. I get it to a point too. Just glad somebody cares, right? But was it helping the situation or hurting it and making it worse? That's probably what they weighed. And they felt like it was only exacerbating things. And that's why you make a decision like this. To be fair, Jonathan, he is the least of the issues. If he had to apologize to the team at one point, like he felt like he should apologize to them, that's an issue. That's what Lou Williams said. This had to be a big deal to get to this point. To say it's the least of their issues, I don't think if it was the least of their issues, the Clippers would have let him go. They know how a lot of you guys would respond to this. They were aware, and it doesn't look good. And the PR hit right now is massive, and everybody is taking CP3's side, or from the majority of what I'm seeing, because they already were against Lawrence Frank and Coach Lou and putting the blame on them. And that's fair to a degree. I think the players deserve a lot of blame too. I think it's a collective thing, but Lawrence Frank is your head of basketball operations. So if you're looking at the totem pole leadership or how these things can go, uh, he's at the top. Steve Ballmer's hands off. He's empowering the basketball people. Mm. Lou Williams said more about Lawrence Frank. I'll look that up. I honestly didn't see that part. That person told me I can relax. I'm not getting traded. 15 minutes later, I was an Atlanta Hawk. Now we have this scenario. It's bad business. So yeah, Lou Williams is going after L. Frank, as Boogie Cousins has gone after him. He said, quote, "This isn't a Clippers thing. This is an isolated issue with L. Frank and the way he's gone about treating certain players." Quote, "A lot of these incidents are coming down to an isolated person, and that person is in charge of a lot of these decisions. This isn't a Clippers thing. It's an isolated issue with L. Frank and the way he's gone about treating certain players. He feels like he has been disrespectful. Certain players, he feels like he's been disrespectful or not on the same page with him. He has a way of doing business with these guys. It's bad optics. There's one particular person in these scenarios who is the common denominator for how things look in optics when it comes to these type of situations." So yeah, he is going after L. Frank. There's going to be a lot more stories coming out. There's going to be a lot more opinions and agendas being pushed by some. I don't know what's going to happen. You guys know I'm always transparent with it. I I work for the Clippers. I'm not some impartial observer. I've said that forever. Everyone has their own built-in biases. I have mine too. But I try to be fair with the criticism, regardless of that, because I do want to keep credibility here. Like I said, Lawrence Frank is all eyes are going to be on him with what happens next because he made the roster. Even though we all like the roster, it hasn't worked. So he's going to be held responsible. Coach Lou's the one that makes the coaching decisions out there with lineups and rotations, and people are coming after him too. People are coming after the players. I mean, the amount of times I've had to say I'm a Clippers employee on here, and people are like, "You're never transparent." I guess I should say that's to start every show. I did say Lawrence Frank was cooking this offseason, and you know how many people agreed with me? Do you want me to pull the tweets? I was here. I was doing these shows. Y'all love the moves. 99.9% thought it was great. But if it doesn't work out, yes, who's the one that's going to have fingers pointed at him? Lawrence Frank, of course. He's the one that made the decisions, even if we liked him. People are upset right now. They're going to be upset at the Clippers. They're going to be upset at me. Yeah, I was absolutely wrong. Jason basically saying what I should have to say before every show, like a disclaimer. Hi, I'm Adam Mosley. I work for the Los Angeles Clippers. Like, I don't know how many times I've said this over the years. I've had to be like, guys, take it with a grain of salt if you want. Like, I have to start every show with that. Jonathan said winning cures all, but I don't have faith in this current roster. No, it's not the first time I was wrong. In sports, you have a lot of opinions. If you have a lot of opinions, a lot of them are going to be right and a lot of them are going to be wrong. This has been about as unexpected of a start as I've ever seen from a team. The Clippers are the most disappointing team in the league, guys. But even before the CP3 stuff. Even before. Easily the most disappointing team in the league. So it gets to a point where fans are fed up. And now it feels like things have reached their peak or it's DEFCON 1. This is the worst I've seen it. Look, I don't stay positive just because I work for the Clippers or try to stay positive. Most people would say, most people would think I'm negative. I try to stay positive because what else can we do sometimes? Like, we can wade in the negativity all we want. It's not going to change anything. I am looking for some bright spots because I don't need this ruining my day. And the next day, and the next day, and the week, and a month, I'm trying to keep a big picture perspective with this franchise, knowing how they have shaped the books for cap room moving forward, knowing where we've been in the past and how they have gotten out of some pretty deep holes. This is as bad as I have seen it, of course. They haven't started this bad before. But if you're going to get mad at me now for trying to find some positives, okay. It's not like I've been trying to since the CP3 thing last night. I mean, this is devastating. You want to live in the negativity? That's cool. Like right now, I totally understand it. There's nothing good happening right now. They need a win. Their franchise GOAT just got sent home. Hey, by all means, I'm not trying to put lipstick on this pig. I don't know what's going to happen if fans are chanting certain things at Into a Dome. It's probably best they're on the road right now, to be honest, because I know how upset the fan base is. Figure it out on the road, get some wins, come back, earn the applause. Yeah, it's disappointing. These jersey retirements, if they ever happen, are going to be awkward as hell. Like, time heals most wounds. I don't say all, but most. But this is going to take some time. The Blake situation seemed like that hadn't healed still. Although he had said some things this summer, doing the rounds and tours and media rounds with him being on Amazon Prime, that made me think that they had mended things there with Blake. But now this happens. It's really discouraging that your history and one of the greatest eras in a franchise that has mostly struggled, the Lob City era, can't be celebrated cleanly because there's bad blood between those players and the current regime. It's just really disappointing. Do I agree that CP3 should have gotten done like that? Well, I don't know all the details of everything that was happening behind the scenes. And now we're going to hear things from the Clippers side and things from CP3's side, and people speaking for both. And I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I know it obviously wasn't helping the way he was going about trying to hold them accountable. And if it's true that he apologized to the team at one point, even he was admitting that he was wrong with the way he was going about it. And if it's not leading to productiveness and wins, if it's only making the situation worse, then I can see why this happened. It is a really tough decision to make. Do I have criticism for Ty Lue and Lawrence Frank after this move? I've had criticism for both this season. If you guys only hear what you want to hear. Collective failure. Collective failure. That means everyone. You guys want to make it about one person? I did a show right before John Collins got finally put into the starting lineup. That day, I did a show that morning, said it's time to get him into the starting lineup. Let's go. What are we doing? Did that fix anything? Hell no. He's been worse. But that was, you could say, criticism. And as I've been saying here, Lawrence Frank is the guy above anyone that's going to be held accountable because he put the roster together. I mean, there's actual receipts. Y'all think I haven't criticized Coach Lou? Go check out who was the one that got the media to ask him about what happened at the end of Game 4 with the Aaron Gordon dunk and why he had that personnel on the floor. Nobody asked him post-game about that. I had someone on and asked, why didn't Coach Lou get asked about the guys who were out there not having more bigs to stop a potential lob play, an unintentional one in this case, at the end of Game 4? But yeah, I never criticize anyone. I literally got that question asked. Who's going to be the backup point guard now? Hopefully Bogey's back, but I know he's on their injury report, so I guess he's not. That's been one of the other under the radar, really devastating blows to this team. I don't know why. My cats are fighting. Everything's bad right now. One of my cats is circling the perch that. Are you guys hearing this? Nobody's happy. One cat wants to play. The other one thinks it's too rough. Chris Haynes just posted something out else. Are you talking about something from earlier? I'll pull it up. No, there's nothing new. Some of you are with Team Tuca, some of you are with Team Shadow. Some of you want Mac McClung signed. I know people have been saying this for a while. It's like there's a reason nobody's had him. I love him, dunk champion. I don't think he's the solution. I just can't believe we've reached this point. But if you told me the record was 5-16, yeah, maybe I could. I have been saying for 2 weeks now, I don't know what's going to happen in terms of jobs if they keep losing. So, no, not much is surprising to me. I know how these things work in sports. It's a lot easier to fire one person than overhaul the entire roster. Now, if Lawrence Frank feels like his job is on the line and he's got to do some wheeling and dealing and make moves, guess we'll see. Steve Ballmer wants to be hands off. He does not want to have to make these basketball decisions. They want stability. They have been consistent. They have been a winning organization, but they haven't won at the highest level. And fans, because of that, hey, when you have a season like this, I'll say it again. If they had won the championship in 2021 and Kawhi didn't tear his ACL, you can live with seasons like this at the end of an era. But because they don't have the hardware to look back upon, like let's say the Milwaukee Bucks do, it leads to more outrage. And fire this person, fire that person. Because nobody has been satisfied with the ring. It didn't happen. And instead, you've had to see SGA and the OKC Thunder win and potentially turn into a dynasty and juggernaut. I would just try to take in before you pick sides and CP3 versus the Clippers and all this stuff. Just try to take in as much information as you can before making that decision. Or, it's not as simple as I'm with this guy or this guy. It's just all bad right now. It's okay to be sad about the state of the Clippers. It is. But fans have a voice. And if you're going to relentlessly say fire this person or fire that person in the chat, that's why it's there. That's why it's there. Try to be an outlet. And some are saying 34 years of this team. I've seen a lot, but this is the final straw for me, I think. Scapegoating CP3 is a bitch move. I don't think they're scapegoating him. They've literally said we're not. I don't think they have any illusions that because CP3 got sent home, now they're going to win 10 straight. He was the problem all along. He wasn't even playing most of the games or playing significant minutes. But if his criticism was not constructive and leading to a turnaround either, or was just having the Clippers go deeper into this hole, then it makes sense. Again, if Lou Williams is right and you want to believe him on some stuff, so are you going to believe him on CP3 apologize to the team? If it had to get to a point where he felt he needed to apologize for the way he was going about it, it must have been pretty bad. I, I remember how you guys felt before he came back about the Lob City era and CP3's leadership. And obviously, I was hoping, he's 40, he's more mature now, he has a different leadership style, he knows he's placed more in this league, he's a veteran, he's helping guys. But that locker room was not harmonious. It wasn't. So CP3 is the ultimate competitor. That's hasn't left him even during his farewell tour. It hasn't. I'm not saying I wanted him gone. I'm trying to understand how something like this could happen, how we could get here. I love CP3. I love the Clippers. It's family. Sometimes you fight, bicker, it's complicated. I just didn't see things coming to this place. But they're 5-16. And when you're 5-16, you might have to take some drastic measures. And CP3 he's the last guy that's going to sit around and be quiet when you're losing this much. The question is, was the way he was expressing his frustrations productive or not? And the Clippers obviously didn't think it was. Shocking that Giannis Antetokounmpo, as Brian Windhorst is reporting, asked for a trade before the season started. Is that true? I mean, it was always headed this way with the Bucks. Go in my live section and see the videos that I did about Giannis. That was much more predictable than this Clippers start to the season. I love Giannis. Yes, if the Clippers had a chance to get him, you do whatever it takes. Mm. Might have a guest for you guys in a bit. Might have a couple. Maybe I'll see. Let me see here. Yeah, LOL WTF Eric and the photos he has done. Like this is what I'm talking about when you're laughing to keep from crying right now. It was wrong and disrespectful to do that to CP3 in the middle of the night. Guys, he talked with Lawrence Frank for 3 hours. This wasn't unexpected. He had already talked to Lawrence Frank before. This wasn't CP3 had no idea that he could be sent home from what I'm seeing and gathering here. I don't think he was blindsided. If they indeed have been talking that much, I don't know what people like. It must have been bad behind the scenes. It is not lost on the Clippers what the fan reaction would be to this. It is not. It must have been really bad for them to send home their franchise GOAT. really bad. But you guys can blame whoever you want. I think there's lots of people to blame here. Do I have any idea how bad this looks like? Yes. I am well aware of the temperature right now. I've known you guys have wanted Lawrence Frank and Coach Lou out before this, and this is only leading to more of an outcry. Again, if somebody is holding guys accountable, but doing so in a way that isn't leading to wins or being productive, and there's a divide between him and the head coach, I can see how that person would be sent home. Whether you agree with that or not, okay. I could just see how that would get us to this point. The Lob City locker room wasn't great. I'm not putting all that on CP3, but he is demanding and it can rub people the wrong way. But it sucks for this to be happening with franchise legends. And that's what I'm guessing they were weighing this summer, whether or not to bring him back or not. Because that decision took some time. And unfortunately it's blown up in their face. What we thought was going to be a great farewell tour with a good Clippers team with CP3 back has just turned into pretty much a dumpster fire of a season so far. Why did they sign him? Because they didn't think this would happen. They didn't think the team would be this bad. Therefore, it would lead to something like this happening or the door opening for a locker room that got toxic. Like, you can't ignore past history. CP3 is strong, strong-willed, strong-headed. It's not always going to land the right way with everybody. Everybody deserves criticism here. L. Frank, Coach Lou, the players, CP3, me. These things don't happen because of one person. If you're saying, well, they only sent one person home, well, I don't think they can send the entire team home. And it's not like CP3 was playing great on the court. He looked his age, unfortunately, this season. I didn't see that coming either. He looked really good for his age last season with San Antonio. All right, join the show right now. Fresh off a new Clips and Dip last night. Chuck Moncler taking some time out here on Clippers Talk as he leaves the office building. Event about the CP3 saga that is an unbelievable turn of events for this franchise. Charles, how are you feeling? The floor is yours.
Man, I think I'm feeling a little more
Gotcha.
rational than I was when I first saw the news, but I mean, I'm just tired, man. Like nothing's good. Everything is going so wrong, and I do not see how it's fixed. I mean, obviously there were moves that maybe need. I don't think jettisoning CP3 fixes a bunch of stuff. He was playing. Maybe the vibes were so bad from him specifically that we rattle off a couple wins or something, but it's just another thing in the line of treating guys who give a lot to the franchise kind of like shit at the end of it, right? Like you look at Lou Will, you look at Blake, you look at, I mean, now CP3, it's just like It's rough. And I'm confused who they thought they were signing. Who, like, everyone
Well,
knows that he's kind of
Charles,
an asshole. Like, I
the
mean that
the
respectfully. Like,
no, you're right. And the one thing that I thought about initially last night, tell me if you felt the same way. Remember how long the courtship took for the deal to get done when we thought, what's taking so long? Is he coming back? Is he not? Maybe they were mulling over whether or not something like this could end up happening.
I've known, though. It's happened at every team he's been at.
Right. But they probably didn't expect them to be 5-16, which would open the door for things to get this bad with CP3's worst side to come out, maybe.
That's what's frustrating, too, is like the reason this is happening is because the team itself is playing pitiful basketball. Like, the reason that CP3 felt the need to be so vocal, and I'm sure said some wild stuff, right? I'm sure Ty Lue's frustrated, or I hope he is. It's because the team is playing worse than the Mavs. Like this, I tweeted it, but like this, I think I was so upset because this just gives me such a tangible thing to anchor all of the rage and disappointment of the season so far. It's just this thing. It doesn't affect the Clippers on court very much at all. He was averaging 2 points and he was horrible. So like, I don't know, man. I think Will said it in a group chat, but this is where the Clippers win by 50 tonight and then go on some weird losing streak or something. But like, we just feel rudderless, no pun intended. We're just like, what's the next move, right? Like Lawrence Frank said, we're going to do whatever we can to make the team better. So what, trade for DeMar? like, I don't know, man.
And that also sounds like, okay, so they're not interested in the teardown if they're talking about making the team better.
Yeah, and that bums me out, I guess, because it's like, nothing is going to be achieved this year from this team. Like this, I don't think. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope we can clip this in a couple months and it's like, look at this idiot. But I don't know what they think they're achieving this year that makes it so much more attractive to do a short-term fix than something that might help us out later down the road.
What did you make of L. Frank saying about Ty Lue, quote, he's going to continue to be the coach here for a long time?
I think, I don't know, man. You have to say that, obviously, because that's a question from fans right now. Fans are rightfully upset. I think it's just marketing speak. I think we've learned is that they love marketing speak. And that is what we're going to get. So I don't know. I don't think he will be the coach for a super long time because I don't think things are going to turn around this year or next year even. We have to wait 2 more years for it. So, like, maybe they stick it out with him. Maybe he wants to be part of this, but he already wasn't talking to a guy for weeks who was on the team. So, like, how much more frustration can you take if you're Ty Lue? But I think it's marketing speak.
I mean,
necessary marketing speak, but
there's no way that they couldn't have gauged the blowback that was coming from sending CP3 home. Therefore, this had to be last resort, right? Things must have been so bad behind the scenes. That's the only conclusion I could draw here.
Yeah, I mean, if Ty Lue wasn't talking, I did some very quick math where they said that Ty Lue hasn't been talking to Chris Paul for weeks. The season started 6 weeks ago. It's not March. Like, the season started October 21st. Like, when did this happen? Did this happen week 1 or 2? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I almost feel like it's better that they're on the road right now because I don't know what the scene would be like at Intuit Dome with this fan base.
Dude, the wall official account is like losing it right now. So yeah, I'm happy for security's sake that they don't have to try and kick people out with what they deem as inappropriate signs, because I can't imagine what the swell would have had in store. Shout out to the swell, by the way. I'm not knocking them at all, but yeah, I think they're back on the 15th, so they got 12 days to get some goodwill from the home fans.
that first game back is against Memphis. Then they go on the road against OKC, and then the second game back, December 20th, is against the Lakers at Intuit Dome. I just
Yeah, things are
if
setting up.
people, Chuck, you know what? I never want to hear that the Clippers don't have fans ever again.
Right. Yeah, today proved that, I think, pretty well, for sure.
Do you think they're going to win the game tonight? You think this is going to have some short-term response?
I mean, if they weren't like bottom 6 in most major impactful categories, I would say sure. And this is what frustrates me too. If the team was 500, this would be a move where it was like they could handle it with some grace. They could, you know, troubles, and they don't have to do it at midnight or whatever. They're 5-16. I don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know. I hope they win.
Yeah,
I don't want to be 5-16.
I'm guessing a part of this calculation has to be okay. He's holding people accountable, but it's not working, and we're actually getting worse.
Right.
So, is it productive the way CP3 is going about this? And therefore, that was part of the reasoning here.
Yeah, I think LA Clippers film had a great way to say it. He said something like, you have to criticize without bruising, or something like that, or like give heavy words without, a major impact. But it's like, that's not how CP3 operates, right? He doesn't mince words, and it's just the culmination of so many frustrations that they met for 2 hours before they told him he was getting waived. Like, I can't imagine what that meeting was like. 3, yeah, like, I'm sure that wasn't fun for everybody involved.
Yeah, and Coach Lou not being on speaking terms with him. I mean, they've had a relationship. He obviously signed off on him coming back. That's just, I just can't imagine where things were at behind the scenes for it to come to this. And it's
And that's true.
shocking and devastating.
Like, it started
Say again?
on after the Jazz.
You see game one, and they start off then 3-3 their first 6, and things have only gotten worse since then for a variety of reasons, but
Sure.
ultimately they're only getting worse. I don't think this is some cure-all. I don't think the Clippers believe it's a cure-all. It's just, it's not helping maybe, so we just have to shed ourselves of anything that is anchoring us down right now too.
And they can't just outright waive him, right? Because we can't have 14 players. Keith Smith broke it down very well, where it's like they're gonna try and move him because they can't waive him and only have 14 or something like that. So, like, I don't know. He's gonna end up on a team in the Western Conference, and he's gonna hit a game-winning shot against the Clippers in a meaningless regular season game, and it's just gonna hurt again.
Really hope it's not with the Lakers.
Honest point, I'm like, go to the Thunder, dude. Go back. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Like, go ahead. Like,
You know what's interesting to me? Fans were polarized about CP3 coming back initially. And then when he did, it was all good vibes. Yeah. And now the fan base has overwhelmingly taken his side in this.
right.
When not that long ago, they were pretty down on CP3 themselves after what occurred with Phoenix. And most of them had turned, and now they're right back with CP3 in this debate.
Come on, you're fired because of things.
That went in and out a little bit. I heard show. I heard fired.
All right, I gotta go back to work. I think I lost connection.
All right, Chuck. Good stuff. Thanks for doing it. There goes Chuck Mockler. glitching out at the end, but oh, it was good to have somebody else's voice on. I don't know how much longer I'm going to go. I know there's somebody else that could come on here. We've exhausted so much of this conversation and every angle so far. I just can't believe it's come to this. But sometimes when things go bad, it just feels like there is no bottom. And that's where the Clippers are at right now. We still have a game today in Atlanta. That's going to be weird. And I'm sure I'll be talking about this pregame some. I've seen Law Murray on NBA TV. I know he's writing up a storm. This is the biggest story in the news cycle. Although the Giannis asked to be traded already story from Brian Windhorst is now picking up steam, of course. Are these two things related? I don't think so. I don't think so. The fans were already fed up, and then their favorite son got sent home and is no longer a Clipper. There's just no way for the Clippers to win this PR battle right now with the fans because of their record, because of how bad things have been. And even though they have made it clear he's not the scapegoat, I don't think they have any illusions on this is going to turn the season around. It just wasn't helping. The fans have already taken a side before this happened. So yeah, the Clippers being on the road might be a sanctuary right now. I hope there's some understanding by the time they come back to Intuit Dome. But you got to win some games. G Icon said CP3 is the least of why we have a bad team. I fire him before Lawrence Frank and Ty. Chris Paul's leadership style, not for everyone. And if the majority of the guys in the locker room weren't for it, I'm guessing that had to be part of this decision. It just is unfortunate. It just is such a bad look. It just is how this season has gone. It is peak 2025, 2026 Clippers right now. I know Robert Flom, had a tweet about this that I thought was interesting. He said, with the Clippers, the funniest outcome is always likeliest. What I'm saying is they're going to go on a winning streak now. Okay. Hope so. The funniest outcome is always likeliest. They're going to go on a winning streak now. If a winning streak coincided with this, would you guys still be upset? I don't know how likely that is. I don't think CP3 was holding them back on the court much because he wasn't playing that much. Wasn't playing every game. Jamal Christopher points out, after retweeting what Lawrence Frank said, we haven't deserved to win, and we have to deserve to win. You have to earn it. Jamal Christopher rightly points out, this is the worst motor in the league from every team I've seen. Clippers have the worst motor in the league. It's funny, after the starters got benched to start the third quarter, and then came back, they played a lot harder. I was wondering if that was going to change their fortunes. Didn't know this was coming. This is not the shakeup that I anticipated. But again, 2 days ago, we saw the cryptic social media post from CP3. So things weren't moving in the right direction. Chris Paul did play hard when he got out there. Part of the comeback that some called a fake comeback, but hey, I was somewhat encouraged. Let's see, who else do I got here? Oh, that person's not coming on. Kevin Richards said, I've been putting most of this on the coach, but after hearing the comments today, Lawrence Frank needs to go. Clipper Edwards said Lakers and Celtics cut people every day and they got 18 banners. I almost feel like, I felt like this for a while. CP3's leadership style for a different time, different era. He's old school. New school guys aren't going to respond well to it. But then again, I don't have specifics on everything that went down. I just know there's a pattern with him in different places, including back with the Clippers in the Lob City days, where the locker room wasn't great. But I'm not saying that this is all on CP3, and that's the reason they're 5-16. It's not. The reason he was upset is because they're 5-16, and that might have brought out the worst side of him. But I can also understand. He's a competitor. He doesn't want to lose. And he's one of my favorite players ever. Someone saying Frank's comments are definitely the biggest problem and the tone deafness all around to the fans. I mean, he said he empathized with the fans and how upset they are right now. Didn't sound like that was tone deaf, but you can just say it's PR spin. He has to say it. Maybe he means it. Maybe he doesn't. I think he means it. I think he's not happy with what's going on. I've literally said it's not on CP3. It's a collective failure. I just understand that if you feel like somebody's not helping and it's only hurting the situation more, that's probably why they made this decision. I am trying to reason through it. I love CP3. But we all know, like, he's a self-admitted a-hole. He knows he's hard and demanding on everybody. That's who he is. I'm fine with that. I came into the season like, good. They need a CP3. They need somebody that's going to be a vocal leader. They need somebody that's going to light a fire when things are bad. I didn't know things would be this bad. That was part of the draw of getting him, in my opinion. But now I think back and how long that courtship took for him to eventually sign. Were they deliberating whether or not he'd be a good fit for this locker room? Yeah, Kobe Bryant and CP3 are very like-minded in the way they go about stuff. Maybe CP3 was saying some sharp and soft stuff to the team. But obviously, it wasn't getting a productive reaction out of the squad. They weren't winning. It wasn't lighting a fire under them. whatever he was trying to do to rally them, it wasn't working. And if Lou Williams is right, and he at one point apologized to the team for the way he was going about it, then he was admitting he was in the wrong to some degree. Maybe he wanted more minutes. I don't know. He didn't look good out there on the court. It feels like we need some type of leadership right now. Nothing's working. Everybody needs to be better. Absolutely, SGA is not SGA without CP3. I've made that point many times. I don't know if SGA is SGA if he stayed with the Clippers, because he goes to OKC and gets a year with Chris Paul that was huge for him. Then he gets multiple years on a 20-win team where he can learn from all the failure. It doesn't mean he would end up the same in every circumstance, including if he had stayed with the Clippers. CP3 definitely helped him. Yeah, CP3 is old school. He's a dog. Obviously, his leadership ways have worked plenty of times too. It's just not working currently with this Clippers team, and they thought it was a detriment to the team. He and Kobe are cut from the same cloth. Hard asses. And it works with some and it doesn't work with others. It hasn't been working this season, unfortunately. Because honestly, I was like, good. They need more vocal leadership. But it looks to have backfired. Shocking turn of events. Shocking 12 hours. Hasn't even been 12 hours yet since we got the news. I was up till 1 a.m. after it came out. I do think it bears mentioning this again from Lawrence Frank. Lawrence Frank said, quote, "We are not scapegoating Chris Paul. We have many issues and we're going to address each of those. We're not blaming him for our underperformance. I take full responsibility for that." Now, I know a lot of you will say, well, if you're taking full responsibility, resign. Nobody's going to do that. They're going to try to fix the problem. He's not going to just run from it. He's going to try to fix it. And maybe this was a small part of trying to fix it, but as he said, they're not scapegoating him. We have many issues. We're going to address each of those. I know Ballmer wants stability, he wants reliability, and he wants wins. So I don't know what's going to happen with anybody. If you guys think Lawrence Frank is the issue, well, a lot of this falls at his feet. He put together this roster. He knows that. This is not lost on Lawrence. I don't know what's going to happen. They keep losing. As I've said for weeks, like, everything's on the table when you're this bad. Everything. But I'm guessing he's going to have an opportunity here to try and fix this, likely through some trades. Because he made that point as well, that they could be aggressive here with making moves, with making roster moves. Let me try somebody else here. Here's what Lawrence Frank said, quote, "If I'm wrong and this roster isn't capable of doing more, as always, we'll be aggressive in trying to fix it. We'll explore every avenue to make this team better." I know a lot of our media members are working multiple jobs. They're doing great work. Joey Lynn, Justin Russo, Law Murray, Grant Mona. I've got Joey Lynn coming on the radio show today at 4 for the pregame. Joey Lynn's incredible. Good work, Joey. Good question. The question he asked was that I thought was really strong from Joey Lynn was, so he put it like this on Twitter. The Clippers knew Chris Paul's leadership style when they signed him. I asked Lawrence Frank why they felt he was a good fit and why that changed. Frank said, quote, I'd like to keep some of those things in-house. Chris has a very good leadership style. He's led a lot of teams, and he's led a lot of teams as being one of the best players, if not the best player on the team. It just, the role, some moves you make, you have great intentions, and some work and some don't. And I own that. And this one just didn't work at this time. I'm telling you, I think they did a lot of soul searching this summer when they were deciding whether or not to bring in CP3 and if that would be the right move or not. And turned out to be a bust. Turned out to be a bust. Epic fail. Like, a bust is an understatement. This is just. This is a disaster. Unmitigated disaster. It's been an abject failure this season. Just, I can't tell you how bad. All right, I got another guest coming on here. I'm sending the link right now. Sorry, guys, I'm working through this in real time and trying to give you good coverage. God, I was going to go work out. I was going to go work out for a very long time. I ate miserably last night. The whole Ballmer is too rich to care. Like, that's ridiculous. Ballmer cares deeply. Have you not seen how passionate he is about this team? Like, if there's one owner to not say this about, it's Steve Ballmer. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. If you think the only way it means he cares is if he starts firing someone, it's like, come on. Firing someone doesn't necessarily mean anything's going to change. Just firing for the sake of firing. We shall see. It could reach that point. Things keep going this badly. Oh, I'm sure there will be more changes. Of course. Ballmer has empowered the basketball people, and he is hoping they will figure this out. Is this a step in the right direction? We don't know. We don't know. They aren't saying that this is CP3 being scapegoated. It's not. They got a ton of issues going on. A ton. Just making a firing right away doesn't necessarily change the culture right away. Like, you got to make sure you have the right guy in. And doing this early in the season, I'm sure they are resisting wanting to do that. It could get to that point. It could. Don't get me wrong. Everything's on the table. Everything. Explore every avenue right now. Try everything. I just know they would rather not have to fire the people that have been a part of this organization for some time. So then who are you hiring? Do they have the right vision that aligns? It's upending your structure and your foundation. It is just you want stability during times like these. You want resolve. Adam sounds like Frank. Did Frank say today it could come to firing more people? Did he say that? Because that's what I'm saying. It could get to that point where we could see a lot more changes. I just don't like Ballmer. Ballmer doesn't care. Come on. From one super fan to another. Ballmer built this arena for you guys. He cares. He's trying to give the Clippers the very best. The goal is to win a championship. He's only been here 11 years. Hey, I understand if you feel like it should be like the Nuggets last season. They fired coach and GM at the very end of the season. That was completely unexpected. I get if you feel that way. You're not wrong in feeling how you do right now, given what's happening with the team. Well, this man's not wrong with his Clippers coverage. And he was there for the Zoom call with Lawrence Frank just about 45 minutes ago. It is Grant Mona of the Sporting Tribune joining us now here on Clippers Talk. Grant, thanks for doing this.
How you guys doing in the chat? Adam, it's good to see you at least. At least it's good to really talk to a face about this whole situation. I've been talking to a screen all day. But yeah, I had to make time for Adam because guys, I want to tell you this. Adam was my number 2 watched YouTube channel. And I'm sure it's number 1 for a lot of you in the chat, but for me, it was number 2, right behind Bill Simmons. Adam, I got to get that number above Bill Simmons, but I think number 2 is okay right now.
I'm not even number 2 on mine, so I get it. Like I'm way down the list, so I appreciate being number 2. I'll take it. That's Kawhi's number.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. How long was the Zoom meeting? Because I'm just reading quotes, obviously coming from you and everybody else. How long was it?
It was, I would say it was about 20 to 25 minutes. And there was national media on there. Usually for these media availabilities, they send it out to the core beat group and then maybe a few national reporters. But I mean, I saw ESPN newsroom on there. I saw Heat reporters on there. I saw people from USA Today, The Athletic, like obviously Law Murray was there. And I see all of your guys' chats. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you, chat. Excuse me, but it was a good contingent of people in there. I'd say there was 30 plus media members in there, where usually it's like 6 to 8, maybe 10. So
no Pablo Torre, or just wondering?
No, he was too busy putting quote posting memes on all of our stuff, so he was not available.
Lovely. He's really reveling in this Clippers season.
Oh yeah.
What was the tone? Because I'm reading the quotes, but how did Lawrence Frank come across to you in just his emotional state?
So I think, Lawrence is very even keeled with his expressions. Obviously, we saw him at Media Day, and how it was kind of just like all right, let's move past this, and I'm going to give one sentence answers. Um, but it was more guys of like a falling on the sword type press conference. And that's kind of like the vibe that I got from it, whereas listen, and this is for everyone that's trying to tell our Clippers media like, hey, you got to ask the hard hitting questions. Like we try, like we do. Like Justin Rousseau and who everyone in this chat knows, and very well, Adam. He literally asked him about the reporting that has been going around of Ty Lue and Chris Paul butting heads, and that they have not been on speaking terms, and literally the answer is that we like to keep those things in house. So like, we're trying to pry these answers away from Lawrence Frank and whoever we talk to, really. And
By the
there
way, that
are
sounds like a non-answer answer.
exactly, and it essentially is. It's a non-answer, and that's usually what we get from either Ty Lue or even the players. Like I've talked to many of our guys that go into the locker room, and we talk to James, and we talk to Kawhi, and we talk to Ty, and we try to pry some form of a valuable answer out of these guys. And this comment says Grant deserves to be fired. That may be true, but I'm trying to tell you that
Welcome to the Clippers Talk chat.
yeah, no, it may be true, but I'm trying to lay everything out for everyone that we are trying to get these answers out, and sometimes either we are shut down or the answers are just vague enough to where we can't really grab anything from it.
And to be fair, also, it's not unusual from an organization to not be as forthcoming and transparent. Everybody complains about the Clippers injury listings. And then I see Lakers fans doing it with their PR team. This is going on everywhere. Fans will always be frustrated with this stuff.
Right. And these injury reports, like, here's the thing about it. I will say to you guys too, and this is to all the Clipper fans that are in here. Like, I am frustrated, man. Like, I am frustrated as someone that's covering this team. Listen, I have been a fan of the Clippers since Blake Griffin was drafted. I came from being a fan, now integrated into media, and kind of seeing how fans react to things. I reacted to things in a certain way. And you guys may say that we don't try and that we're scared to ask the real questions, but I just want to lay things out to you as to why that may be. There's a certain divide between being in a fan perspective and watching the games and interacting on Twitter and YouTube and all that stuff. I think that's very crucial to a fan base, and that's why I try to interact with people. And then there's the other line where it's like, I am now in a professional environment representing an outlet that has given me the opportunity to have credentials to do these types of things. And I can't just blatantly ask things without kind of, I wouldn't say dance around it, but I have to formulate the question in a professional way.
Yes, you have to have
And
tact.
right, I have to have tact in it. And while guys, I would love to ask these guys like, why is Tyronn Lue still the coach? Why is Lawrence Frank fired? Just like you guys kind of convey on Twitter, I have to do it in a way that doesn't undermine my outlet, undermine my credentials with the NBA, and undermine my standing with the Clippers. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to press. Like, we have asked these questions, and it's just that we are not getting the answers that I really expected them. I mean, again, we should probably expect these answers, but we wanted some more context as to why Chris Paul was let go at midnight, Adam. And sorry for the
What?
long answer, but
No, it's a good answer. It deserves an explanation because I know you deal with this all the time, and you do a great job, and the rest of our media members do too.
yeah.
It is yeoman's work. What was the information you could glean from what L. Frank said, and how do you interpret that?
So he really took a lot. I mean, essentially all of the blame for the Clippers' start to the season, the disastrous start to the season. He really said like this move was not about Chris Paul's underperformance and that being the reason why we have underperformed. He said the full blame is on me. He talked about it like I put the roster together. I hired Ty Lue. I am the one that has control over all of this. And like sure that is correct to a certain extent, but also, it is on the players as well. And listen, Ty Lue has said this, the players have actually said this. It's on them. Like I know like there's this, like I said, divide between like media and fans. There's a divide right now in terms of like mindset between Lawrence and Ty and the players. And sorry if you guys can hear any of this stuff going on around me, but
Are they headed to Intuit Dome?
it's funny. I sent this Chris Haynes is sorry to change the subject, but I sent the airplane thing where uh the Clippers had troubles with their airplane at like 6 a.m. And I sent it to Justin Russo and I said, even our airplanes are getting injured right now, which is unbelievable. But anyways, this is the first time, let me just cut to the chase. This is the first time that anybody surrounding the team has flat out called the team bad. We've asked Ty Lue, he said, we'll be fine. We asked the players, we'll be fine, it's early. We asked Kawhi, we have 62 games left, it'll be okay. This is the first time in this Lawrence Frank media session that anybody has called the team bad, that said, we are bad on both ends of the basketball. And at least we got that concrete answer. Like I was talking with some other reporters, like, finally, we got somebody to admit that they are a bad basketball team.
Here's the type of stuff people say. Grant, does media ever remind L. Frank that he himself needs to be held accountable? When does Ballmer get held accountable? It's like, well, first of all, no owner fires themselves. Second of all, as you just expressed, Frank did say it's on him. Like, what more?
Yeah. He
you
said
could say,
it's
well,
on
then
him.
he should step down. It's like nobody's going to do that. They're going to try to fix the situation.
Right. And, I know a lot of fans are looking at that Tyronn Lue quote, or not the quote, but the thing that Lawrence Frank said about T. Lue, where it was like, he's going to be our coach here for a long time. That's essentially right now what I think is reassurance for Ty Lue in this situation. But Adam, as you know, things can go in so many different directions after the season. Things can change over time. And while Lawrence has continuously on many different situations this is crazy. Sorry, I just had to see this. Giannis is starting to talk about getting traded. I saw that in the chat.
This is way less shocking than what's happening with the Clippers. I got to be honest.
Exactly. I agree. I was like, it was going to happen at some point. But, this team, I just feel like, Adam, they know that after the season, there are going to be major changes. I think they do know that. Endings to eras are never fun. I hope people understand that.
And if they had won the championship, which was the plan when they brought together Kawhi and Paul George, we wouldn't be in this place where fans would be this outraged. It's because of the failures of not having won that ring that compounds things and makes it even worse.
And Adam, after the season, let's just go back like 6 months, after the Clippers season last season, right? Where they won 50 games for the second consecutive year. They had a decade of winning seasons. They had a brand new stadium. They had a defensive minded team. They had at least some cap flexibility, right? And nobody was talking about firing Tyler. I mean, there's always a contingent, but nobody was really at this point talking about Tyronn Lue getting fired, Lawrence Frank getting fired. If I remember correctly, a lot of people in the offseason loved the John Collins move. People loved the Brook Lopez move. People loved the Bradley Beal addition. I understand Norman Powell was a loss, but I remember fans going at Norman Powell for his performance in the Denver series. I remember that. These are things that I keep in my mind. And Losing changes things. Disastrous starts change things. So our minds as fans, our mentalities are going to shift from here on out. If the Clippers win 5 in a row, we'll be like, oh, is something happening here? If they lose 5 more, it's still going to be the same thing. In 6 months after the season, if Lawrence Frank has a good offseason and acquires some good pieces, it's going to change again. So I think it's just a compound of just so many bad things happening at once. I should probably mute my microphone here, but I'm
No,
gonna.
it's not picking it up that loud. I can still
Okay.
hear it pretty good.
Okay.
You're right. The level of disaster this has reached this early in the season was completely off the radar. It wasn't something anticipated. Vegas had them at 48.5 wins on their over/under. Most fans thought, hey, you only had Kawhi for 37 games last season and you won 50. So what's going to happen this season, starting things off with Kawhi getting a healthy offseason and really bringing in support in areas of need, like John Collins? Well, that hasn't worked. And so the same people that loved all the moves they made are now going to blame Lawrence Frank. And I get it. Ultimately, he is the one that made these moves and will be held responsible. He's admitting to some of that today. That's now obviously not going to be enough for people. They want him gone immediately. And when you let go of a franchise favorite, a fan favorite, and the Clippers' best player in their history, it starts a rift and more of a divide between who the fan base wants to get behind. And that's what we're seeing today.
Yeah, and people are saying like, what about the bad draft picks? Like, yeah, that may be true. Like, they haven't drafted well, but you gotta understand, like, right now, this roster is at a certain point, Adam, where they're using a two-way in Kobe Sanders, who's a second-round draft pick, who actually, in my opinion, looks like a really viable player for them. But they're using him in a situation that I don't think he expected at the beginning of the season. They've had to use Cam Christie, where I didn't expect him to be a major part of this rotation at the beginning of the season. They're having to use, I mean, I know a lot of people hate that I said that Kobe Brown has been playing a little bit better, but they've had to use Kobe Brown because these are guys that give effort, energy, and hustle. And nobody expected that at the beginning of the season. Like, there are so many things that are happening for not just me covering the team, but for the actual team, to where they had no expectation that this in early December would be a situation where they would have to use Kobe, two Kobe's, and Cam Christie as a core part of the rotation.
Yeah. Uh, I feel like Coach Lou has pressed a lot of different buttons here to try to get something more out of this team. But the one that we just saw pulled that lever at the start of the third quarter to bring his starters out, that is really a panic last resort type move from Coach Lou. And you wonder what that does for the starters moving forward when you realize your minutes are no longer guaranteed out there.
Right. And I personally loved that move by him. A lot of people are like, well, oh, they're down 20. Like, we've seen them make comebacks before. We have not seen this team make those comebacks at all. They are usually a team in years past where you can count on Luke Kennard going off in a third quarter and putting them back into a position where they can win. You can count on a Reggie Jackson and Amir Coffey getting them back into a game. This team has not shown that at all. So what was the message? Hey, you guys don't want to perform in the first minute and a half when we know that we've struggled in third quarters. We're going to get guys that at least, yeah, sure, they're young. Yeah, sure, they're two ways. Yeah, sure, they may not have the talent that you guys have. But I know that Cam Christie, Kobe Brown, Yana Kona Niederhauser, and any of the others, they're at least going to give us effort, energy, and hustle. And for Kawhi to come, and this is one other thing that I wanted to address, like, for Kawhi to come back in that game down 38 and make it a 12-point game, that gained my respect a lot. There are stars that would have just called it in and said, yeah, I'll get some rest for Wednesday. Kawhi went back into that game and absolutely masterclassed the Miami Heat and got it to a 12-point game. Now, you can say, well, why didn't he do that in the first half? He actually did in the first half with that Jordan Miller unit. And then, James Harden was a minus 39, but we won't have to get into that. But that message right there for me was pretty clear. Like, hey, I'm sick of just playing around. If you guys don't have it, I'm putting in guys that do have juice, regardless if we win or lose. So, I know, like, it's so crazy, Adam, how in a span of 48 hours, like, what has transpired. But at this point, I'm just like, what happens next? Like, what is going to happen? Like, what other blow is going to come now? It has to be a move, because I asked Lawrence Frank about the roster and the salary cap implications of this, because, like, Adam, Bobby Marks said this on Twitter, is that you can't have 14 consecutive days of having 13 guys on the roster. You have to get to that 14, and then that December 15th marker, that's a big factor here. They're gonna have to eat his salary if they waive him, if they release
Couldn't
him.
couldn't they just transition Kobe Sanders from a two-way to a roster spot? Wouldn't that be just the easiest way to do something?
And that's something that I was thinking of, and I probably should have asked Lawrence that, because I think that's inevitable at this point. But it didn't seem, Lawrence kind of danced around that question too. I tried to ask him, like, if there are any immediate moves that you guys want to do, and um, it was just kind of like, we'll evaluate the roster and see what happens by the 15th. But again, like, are they just going to keep CP3 at home until the 15th and wait for them to make a trade? Like, I just, that's the thing about this too. Like, he's still on the roster. Like, they haven't officially released him yet. They haven't made a decision on him yet. And the quote that he said, where find the next step in his career, like, what does that really mean?
Yeah. I don't know where he ends up, but I don't want to see it with the Los Angeles Lakers, obviously. I know some people are already wondering about
Not at
that.
all.
How bad do you suspect things were behind the scenes with him and other players, or him and Coach Lou, given what Lou Williams has said today and some of the criticism he had for Lawrence Frank, which is unusual to see from Sweet Lou Williams?
I do think that there were some things going on behind the scenes. Now, I can't really confirm that, but I have heard from a few people that there were some instances of things happening where, I don't want to put two players against each other, but, like, there were some things that happened. Let me just leave it at that. And Lou Will is more connected than I. Shams is more connected than I. Yes, I'm in the locker room all the time, but that doesn't mean that I have the sources that these guys do, to where they can pinpoint exactly what's going on. Those things don't just pop up because they're fake, right? If you have multiple sources commenting on a situation that happened like that, it's more than likely that it did happen. Now, to what degree, I have no idea, but I do 100% think something, at least one thing happened. And we asked Lawrence Frank about that, and he said it's not one isolated incident, which, that can be interpreted in a few ways. Like, did it happen over the course of those 6 weeks? Did it happen,
Right.
multiple times over the past week? Like, we don't
And
know,
Lou
but
Williams said he apologized to the team at some point, Chris.
right,
So he's
right.
admitting some guilt on the way he went about this, if that truly happened. So this wasn't one incident, as you mentioned there.
Right. So if it was to the degree of that, Chris Paul had to go in front of the team and address the team and apologize for the criticisms that he had on the players, then it must have been pretty harsh, right? But at the same time, I kind of have the respect for Chris Paul to be like, dude, I'm glad you dug into these guys. I hope it wasn't anything personal, but if it was about the basketball, and he laid into these guys about how they've been performing and that they are not up to standard, I have some respect for that. I mean, I've been in locker rooms where, in my baseball career, where, I played at a Division I level, and we've had some moments where it's like, dude, what do we do now? And we've had to, like, come together as a team and, like, grill each other. Like, we've just had to get over it, and we've heard about these instances over the years and how it can divide a locker room, but with Chris Paul, like that's just kind of the player he is. Draymond Green said it like a few weeks ago after their loss to the Rockets. He's like, I'm not a guy that's gonna prop you up. I'm a guy that's gonna mother F you. Like I'm gonna try to like dig into you, right? And that's just kind of like there's a certain contingent of players that just go about it that way. And I feel like Chris Paul is one of those types of players.
The difference is the guys obviously weren't responding to it based upon the record. So if it's not helping or being productive, then I can see why it got to this point. I'm all for the fire and brimstone. The fans find it
Yeah.
relatable. They all want to scream and shout at the Clippers. So if CP3 was doing that for him, of course everybody's going to side with him in this case because they feel like, well, he's our franchise goat and he's representing us right now in our frustrations out there. But it clearly wasn't working. And if it's becoming more of a negative than a positive, and he's having to apologize to the team because of the way he's going about it, then that's the only way I could see something like this coming about, where it's a
And
net negative.
yeah, and sorry to cut you off, but like one thing before the Clippers went on their big road trip, their last road trip, like we talked to Nico like off the record, and this is nothing that's like crazy, but like we asked him like, could this road trip like be good for you guys? And he was like, I think this is gonna be good for us. Like I really think this can like a road trip where we're together, like it can help us. And nothing that I've seen in the time that I've been in the locker room and around the guys has been negative. Like none of these guys are like yelling at each other. You can't hear them arguing. Like, you always get those reports like we heard them outside the locker room and it was a heated exchange between play. Like we haven't heard that type of stuff. So I personally have not seen any rift in the locker room. Like if anything, I've seen these guys like really friendly with each other, like they're getting along, they're talking about their families, they're joking around with each other. And again, like I know that probably has no value, but just by what I've seen, I haven't seen any rift or any conflict at all between the guys. Like seems like even like the new guy, like John Collins is getting along with everyone. He's joking around with everybody. Um, Brooke Lopez is a guy that is very stoic. So we don't get to really hear a lot from him, but James has commented on his personality many times. So it would be for me, it would be odd to hear that there is a huge locker room rift right now because I don't see that, you know.
You touched upon this for a second, and if you got to go, just let me know, Grant. I know you're taking time out here, but do you make anything of the last couple of games from James Harden and what he said with the media?
I always have to, Adam. I always have to. There's a history here of James Harden saying things and acting certain ways on multiple teams now. Uh, as great as James Harden has been for the Clippers franchise and how awesome of a player he has been for the Clippers and what he did in his time last season, kind of willing them to a playoff spot without Kawhi Leonard. Um, like I said, things can change. And his mannerisms after the loss to the Dallas Mavericks were concerning to me. They were surprising. I wouldn't say surprising, but they were a little bit polarizing because of the eye roll when asked about, like, is it challenging to navigate these injuries and not knowing the rotations? That was very polarizing to me. The fact that he didn't play in the second half, right? He was a guy that could have came back in, and I understand like eh, Lawrence Frank chalked it up to them just giving him extra rest and like being like, hey, he's at a high minutes load, like his usage rate is off the charts. Like we had to get him a blow, but like even in the time that he did play in Miami, he was a huge net negative. Like they played much better when he was off the floor. Like his plus minus numbers without Kawhi and then with Kawhi were staggering. And I'm not saying that this is trending towards anything. I'm just saying like I'm now, Adam, starting to see like kind of a trail, like kind of some bits and pieces here of like maybe this could turn into something, right? Yeah, I'm starting to like the Always Sunny in Philadelphia thing where he's like he has yeah. And like the JJ Redick talking to the coffee cup thing. Like I'm starting to see some pieces of like, oh, that's not great. The vibes were not like this. Like this was not what it was last year. So I will end with that. I've been yapping this microphone off and yapping your guys' ears off, but yeah, I'm starting to see some little inklings of things with James that I did not see maybe even 2 weeks ago, Adam.
He is Grant Mona of the Sporting Tribune. Grant, where can everybody find your great work?
So I'm now doing some writing for Roundtable.io. We have a great Clippers community over there. I'm writing about 6 or 7 teams, so I'm going to be writing there. I also do all of my main beat coverage for the Sporting Tribune, and then you guys know where to find me on Twitter. I'm sure a lot of these people already follow me there. It's at gmona48. So I'm going to be around, guys. Again, like if you guys see me at games, if you guys have anything to talk to me about, please feel free to hit me up, because I always love to interact with fans and I always want to kind of have that fan base's pulse. So
You're doing the Lord's work. Appreciate you jumping on here on Clippers Talk, Grant.
all right, thanks Adam, I appreciate you.
Take care, my friend. Tough day, but I think we've had some extensive coverage for you guys regarding the CP3 situation. Fast moving story. If more breaks regarding it, I'll be back. I do want to ask you this question, and I'll type it out too. What is your realistic Godfather offer for Giannis? Because it looks like, as I talked about all summer long, as soon as they start losing, Giannis is understandably going to start exploring his options, because this is somebody that is a big time competitor and wants to win. Do you have a Godfather offer for Giannis? They have 2 first round picks that they can give up, a 2030, a 2032, and in between there, a 2031 pick swap. That's the most draft capital they can do. Zubats, Yannick, Kobe Sanders. I know it's a desperate long shot for the Clippers to have enough to give up for Giannis. I know everybody else is going to have more. I'm just wondering what you would do. Of course, it's unlikely. They're not doing Kawhi Collins on those picks. Zoo, Harden, Collins, and the 2030 picks. 2 Kobe's and a Jordan. The 2045 pick. Zoo, Collins, Dunn plus the 30 and 31 swap. They're going to want that 32 pick too. Not trading Yannick or Kobe Sanders. No way. 2 unproven rookies you would not trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who could easily go down as a top 15 player ever. Okay. I'm glad I asked, Quinn. Oh, that's insane. I think they'd like to get a young player. Ideally, they want a young player who could be a superstar and picks. That's what they're going to be looking for. Some are saying Ty Lue and Doc are best buddies, so you never know. I mean, Lawrence Frank and Doc are close. You guys think Kobe Sanders is another Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? I think there's only one Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but look, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I know. It's unrealistic even asking the question, probably. I'm Adam Osland. This has been a breaking news emergency Clippers talk. I'll be back at 3:30 with your Clippers pregame show right here. Talk to you then. We'll have Joey Lynn on. More coverage of the CP3 fiasco. Love y'all, Clipper Nation. I really do. The only thing, okay, Quinn, I'm not trading young players for a vet. It's Giannis Adetokounmpo. It's Giannis Adetokounmpo. He is one of the greatest basketball. He is. You guys think, oh, he's only got one ring. Like, all right, I'm out. But I do love y'all. And the only thing that makes me feel better during times like this is being together, even with people on here that spew a lot of hate towards me. But that's what the internet is. It's for trolls and people hiding behind a keyboard. And hey, in my past life, maybe I've done some of it too. Talk to you guys today at 3:30, Clippers in Atlanta without CP3.